So I started this journey for myself, this 75 days of regulation. And I got to tell you, it transformed my entire life. I started coming back to myself in ways that I have never come back to myself before. I have a theory that nervous system regulation will transform your entire life. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Rochelle Fox. You are listening to the Mindspo podcast, and this is my I Have a Theory series. And wow, I'm getting emotional before even getting into today's episode because this is a very personal one. And if you are someone that is on a journey of healing your nervous system, if you are curious about nervous system regulation, if you are someone that wants to expand your capacity for life, if you want to feel more in your body, if you want to feel more safety, more ease, more peace, and you really just want to get your spark back, then this is the episode for you. I want to take you on a little bit of a story time to tell you why I'm so passionate about this episode and really give you context for what I'm about to share with you because wow. So I have been in this healing space for a really long time. I started Mindspo over a decade ago now, and my own healing journey started 15 years ago. And through that period of 15 years, there have been many ups and downs with my own healing. And I have grown so much and learned so much, not only as a student of all these beautiful modalities and this work, but also now as a teacher. I've been teaching and in this space for over 10 years. And I want to be honest with you and say that around 2 years ago now, there were some things that happened in my life that caused a lot of ruptures. And those things and those patterns kind of continued on for around 18 months. And I've only really just kind of come out the other side of them. And it has been a real lesson for me, not only as someone that teaches this work, but also is, a student of this work. Because I found around 2 years ago, around the time I was writing my book Magnetic in 2024, that some of the routines and rituals and the ways that I was approaching my healing were just not working for me anymore the way that they used to. And in particular, the thing that wasn't hitting the way that it used to was meditation. Now, I've been using meditation for a decade. It has been the single most important practice in my life, and I attribute meditation to the majority of my success and where I am today. Without meditation, I wouldn't be the woman that is sitting on this podcast. However, there were certain things that were happening in my life that were causing some very, very real body-based patterns and some patterns in my subconscious body that were symptoms that were showing up somatically that weren't going away through my daily meditation practice. And I discovered that I really needed to be more experimental with my own healing. And I have learned and taught a lot of techniques over the years. I don't just teach meditation. I've taught so many things through my retreats and through my work. But not all of those things are things that I've needed to practice every single day or I felt were really what I resonated with. But around 2 years ago, I started realizing wow, I need to kind of branch out from what I do on a daily basis. And that is when I started really diving into breathwork a lot more. I started diving back into yoga and somatic-based healing. I started diving further back into body-based techniques. I started diving into EFT and all of these different more mind-body-based modalities. And it's so funny because this journey with body-based healing, it actually really started when I was writing my book Magnetic. And I was writing a book all about the mind, and I was so focused in my mind, and I was so sedentary for around a year, just sitting down, being very devoted and disciplined, writing this book, showing up to this book, meditating on this book, very, very in my head, that all of a sudden my body was feeling like it was frozen and it had all of these things that it needed to release that I wasn't releasing. And that is when my body-based healing journey really ramped up. And then that journey has very much expanded over the last 2 years, and it has taken me on a beautiful quest as a human to really dive deeper into other areas of healing. I have gone and done certifications in somatics and nervous system based regulation techniques and nervous system healing. I have sought new teachers and mentors and therapists. I've been working with new people to really expand my repertoire and to make myself not only a better human and the best that I can be, but also the best teacher and mentor that I can be to other people. And some of my regular listeners would know that I have called this journey my return to radiance journey. And it is something that I have really been devoted to. So devoted to that last year took me on an absolute roller coaster ride. I did not have the year that I expected last year. 2025 was not the year that I expected, but it was the year that I really needed. It was a year where I feel like I was thrown into the depths of my own healing again. And I never thought that this would happen. I had just written a book. I felt like I'd just become an authority. I'd just kind of gotten to this point where I felt so ready to go out there, to be seen, to be visible, to go and do all of the things. But my body was like, no, Rosh, this is not that year. This is the year of deep embodiment. This is the year of going deeper into the things that you have written about. So you really are a shining example of the work. And I feel like the universe gave me every single opportunity to show up and learn from the mistakes, the patterns, and the loops that I had been stuck in. And it was such a fucking hard year, man. I'm going to say it, 2025 put me through the ringer. And it was officially, I will always look back and say to myself, 2025 was my year of deep nervous system healing. It was the year where patterns that I didn't even realize were present, or maybe they were new, I don't know where they came from, just reared their ugly heads, and I had to go and do the work. I was so deep in somatic healing last year. I was so deep in nervous system regulation. I was so committed to this craft. And something happened in 2025 that I think is really funny. I had just started a brand new body-based certification, and I was learning all these new techniques. And I am someone that always loves to have a goal, have a mission. And I thought, you know what, while I'm doing this certification, while I'm on this kind of path, I'm going to go and do 75 hard, because I really want to get into a routine. I want to be exercising daily. I want to be eating well. I really want to have like discipline, and I wanted to have some kind of mission to go on. I definitely find I am the best version of me when I have a deadline, when I have a plan, when I have some kind of goal to work towards. And here I am doing a somatic-based healing course, and then I'm telling myself that I'm going to go and do a very masculine-based challenge. And I have to laugh at myself looking back. And I started trying to do 75 hard, and I quickly stopped doing it. And it wasn't because I wanted to stop doing it, but it was because I was so dysregulated and there were so many things showing up in my body that I wasn't actually able to stick to any kind of routine or any kind of discipline. And 75 hard was the last thing that I needed to do. And then I said to myself, okay, I'm not sticking to 75 hard. This is really challenging. I'm so dysregulated. I am numbing myself out. I was just feeling so numb in my body. I wasn't really in my body. I was so in my head. And I was in this place where I was kind of floating between my body was there and my mind was here. And then I was somewhere up in the clouds. Like I was just not present. So I said to myself, why don't I do 75 days of nervous system regulation? Why don't I go on a journey where for 75 days I commit to nervous system regulation rituals and techniques that bring me back into my body, that bring me a sense of safety, that bring me a sense of calm and a sense of ease. And rather than telling myself that I have to do it for an hour a day here and an hour a day there and have all of these crazy little rules and tick boxes, why don't I just commit to 15 minutes of nervous system regulation every single day? And rather than it being the same thing every day, why don't I make a routine where I do some practices the same every single week so that my body has familiarity, so it knows what's coming, it feels comfortable, it feels safe, but then I throw in some different techniques here and there. So I started this journey for myself, this 75 days of regulation. And I got to tell you, it transformed my entire life. I started coming back to myself in ways that I have never come back to myself before. I started looking forward to these 15 minutes every single day where I got up and I did somatic shaking, or I got up and I did an EFT, or I got up and I did a beautiful breathwork practice. And it was not something that I dreaded or something that I had to squeeze into my routine. It was something sacred to me that I held as a non-negotiable, that if I missed, and I did miss it a few times because I was like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm not going to do it. On the days I missed it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I haven't had my morning coffee. It's like I haven't had that morning matcha that just made me feel alive. It was this body-based buzz that I just got so addicted to in such a positive way. And after doing those 75 days, I said to myself, oh my gosh, like this was the most beautiful thing that I have ever done for myself. This was just such a loving commitment to my body, to my expansion, to my healing. And it didn't even feel like a slog, because I know just hearing the word 75 days, you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me 75 days to feel good, to feel regulated. No, I started feeling the impact of this 75-day challenge 3 days in. 3 days in, I was like, wow, I'm really loving these 15 minutes a day. And then 7 days in, I was like, wow, I'm really starting to feel different. 14 days in, I was like, okay, I am responding differently to different things that are going on. I have more time. I have more space. I just feel like I'm breathing a little deeper. And then by a month in, I'm starting to feel more sensation in my body. I was getting a little bit more sensitive to things, but in a good way. I was actually connecting with my emotions and feeling into things in my body rather than just in my head. And then by 2 months in, I was just completely changing how I was operating on a day-to-day basis, because rather than it being so heady, so dysregulated, so frozen, I was feeling so embodied. I was feeling so lucid. I was dancing. I was moving. My spark had come back. And the fact that this challenge that I had set myself just kept going was such a positive thing, because I didn't want it to stop. I wanted it to become such an integral part of my life, that I was so committed to my own expansion through regulation, through coming home to myself, that I was so ready just for this to go on forever. And it has continued to be something for me that has continued on now, like gosh, months and months later, I am still on this like 75-day regulation journey, because it's not just a 75-day journey anymore. It's become a lifestyle. It has become part of my everyday routine. And really bringing body-based practices into my routine, that has been transformational to me, because I'm someone that has been doing a mantra-based meditation practice, the Mindspo method, now for over a decade. And that impact of having that discipline and devotion with my mind has created an ability for me to be so clear, to be so calm, to be so creative with my mind. But now these body-based practices have created a reality where I'm so expanded, I'm so regulated, I'm so safe inside my body. And this is what transformed my life in 2025. It was these 75 days that I did for myself, that I devoted to my own expansion. And then I decided, I was like, you know what? Imagine if I did a 75-day regulation journey for the Mindspo app. Imagine if I took this personal journey that I have done and I recorded all of these different practices, all of these different modalities, all of the things that have been helping me in such a deeply personal way, and I put them on the app so that people could go on the app and they could have a practice every single day and feel like they are in their own regulation studio. And this is what I have done. And it is called 75 Regulate. And it is on the Mindspo app. And it is the thing that I am honestly most proud of in the app, because I feel like out of everything in there, like there are so many things that will transform your life on the app. And every single time I bring out something, I'm so excited about it. But there is something so, oh gosh, don't cry, Rosh. There is something so profound about feeling safe in your body again when you've lost that feeling of safety. There is something so beautiful about being in your body and really feeling the human experience, not just from your head, but from the body that you were given to experience life with. Because I really felt disembodied for a little while there. Like starting 2 years ago, there were some things that just made me feel so out of my body and so dissociated. And this journey that I have been on of coming back home to myself, really regulate myself through things that I haven't had to move through before and expand my capacity, has been integral to me enjoying life again, because I really did lose my spark for life for a little while. I lost my spark for being here, and I feel like I was just going through the motions and no one would have really noticed. And I think that's the thing about me that is a challenging thing. I've always been someone that is so good at putting on a brave face, and I think sometimes I'm so good at that I don't even really realize that I'm going through something. And I think people around me sometimes don't even realize how much I'm going through, because I'm someone as a kid that learned to wear a mask. I'm someone that learned how to dissociate, and that became something I got really, really good at. And these tools and these practices have taught me that I don't need to mask anymore, that I actually can move through these things so that I don't have to put up a front in front of everyone, and I can feel what I am feeling and really move through it, not just intellectually, but move through it in my body. And wow, I want to share this with you today because this is the thing that I am most excited about right now in terms of like my work. The idea that I have this journey on the Mindspo app for you to be able to start today, to go on this beautiful 75 days of regulation, and to know that this is going to be a journey that is going to be an integral part of your life and that you're not going to want to skip. I know that if you start this journey and you just get through integrating it into your day and you make it part of your routine for the first 7 days, because we all know when we start something new, it can take a little while to adjust. But if you make the time and you carve out just 15 minutes a day for these practices, it will have a profound impact on your life. So I want to tell you a little bit about the 75 Regulate journey and what I put in there. So it is a combination of many different modalities, and I did it very much how I did my own journey. So there are some foundational anchor practices that are the same every single week. One of those practices is something called the somatic shake up. It is a guided somatic shaking routine that I am so passionate about. I actually custom made the music for this. I worked on the music for over a month because I had a very specific vibe and feeling that I wanted you to experience. I wanted it to be tribal and so like alive. I wanted you to feel your cells just like light up. You know, when you're holding on to so fucking much and you just feel like the weight of the world on you and you feel so frozen and frustrated and kind of like you want to punch something through the wall and you don't know how to get it out. Yeah, I feel like that sometimes too. In 2025, before I was doing these regulation practices, my anger inside of me was getting so intense that I used to visualize throwing things through a wall just in my head when I was angry and something was going on, but I wasn't actually expressing the anger. And then I got into somatic shaking and I don't have the throwing things through the wall visualization anymore because I am actually getting all of the anger, all of the frustration, all of the you know, that feeling that builds up in your body and you just can't, sometimes you can't rage the way that you want to as a woman. Yeah, I don't have the rage in my body anymore because I am shaking it out somatically. And oh my God, does it feel good. My friend actually taught me Ableton and then I taught myself from there. And look, if you don't know what Ableton is, it is a music making software. And a little bit of history here, if you're new to the podcast, I used to be a DJ. So I'm someone who used to be a DJ that turned meditation teacher. So I have this kind of old history with music that I've now integrated into all the stuff that I'm doing on the Mindspo app because music is such an important part of an app. Like, I don't want some cheesy bullshit Pond 5 music for you. I want you to feel the music in your bones that you experience with the practices that I'm sharing. So I have this somatic shaking video that is part of 75 Regulate that you will do every single week in the journey. And then there are some other foundational practices. One of them is the Mindspo meditation method because I have been meditating for over 15 years and it has been such a foundational practice that has really supported my nervous system in profound ways. And then every single week in 75 Regulate, you also have this beautiful foundational breathwork journey that is called the Feel Your Future Now breathwork. And it is this slow flow, conscious breath work where I take you through a visualization as you breathe and you really connect with that future version of yourself while regulating your nervous system. So you're creating the safety within your body while you're having these visualizations. And that is such a powerful practice because when you can feel safe in your body while visualizing your expansion, it really teaches your nervous system that this expansion is safe. This new version of you is safe. It is safe to expand. And safety is one of the key things that actually stops people from manifesting because you're not going to manifest something that doesn't feel safe for you subconsciously in your mind and subconsciously in your body. So those are 3 of the foundational practices. And then every single week, I'm then mixing it up as well. It's all themes. So for the 11 and a half weeks, there's a new theme every single week. And we have themes like forgiveness, themes like expansion, themes like letting go. And every single week you get to experience different practices that match up with those themes. So you'll do EFT tapping every single week on a specific topic. Then you'll also have breathwork practices and walking meditations. I have done a new walking meditation for every single week of this journey. And this was a huge thing that I was working on at the end of 2025 when I wasn't really on the podcast. I was deep in Ableton, creating incredible walking meditations for you, mixing music, getting very, very specific with the sounds, the breaths, the beats, the walking meditations on the Mindspo app. And I think that they're the best out there. And that's saying a lot because I'm not like, oh my God, I'm the best. But I'm like, you know what? I nail a walking meditation. It is my combination of 15 years of meditation practice with my DJing background that I feel really just brings this unique vibe and essence. And I use my own walking meditations, and I don't always use my own meditations. I like to listen to the ones where Chris is speaking because it's kind of strange doing things to my own voice all the time. But oh my gosh, my own walking meditations, they're so cool. I love them. They're vibey and they're upbeat and they take you on a journey and they allow you to just breathe and expand. And there's a lot of somatic cues in my walking meditations as well, because it's really about getting you in your body. And this is really where Mindspo as a company is going. I mentioned this in another episode. We are turning into a body-based company. I feel like we've been dealing with the mind for 10 years and obviously working in the body, but now I am really expanding what it is that we do, what we are known for, because I think that in this day and age, I really do think regulation is the new meditation. And that doesn't mean that meditation doesn't have a place. Like, I'm a meditation teacher, like this has been my career. But I think a lot of people struggle with meditation these days because they are so disconnected from their bodies that just doing something in their head, they need to actually regulate their nervous system first. They need to somatically do something to get into their bodies before going into their minds. And 75 Regulate is for people that maybe have struggled with meditation, that maybe have tried these kind of mind-based techniques, but haven't seen the shift. And it's also such a beautiful journey if you are someone in therapy or if you are someone that is on a healing journey, just to support everything else that you're doing, because it's just 15 minutes a day to yourself with these beautiful bite-sized practices that just make you feel so good. And I really want to highlight that because this is the thing about my own nervous system regulation journey. It just felt so good. There were moments in my journey when I was diving deeper into some of the work myself in 2025 where I started to feel worse before I felt better. And this is really common when you are doing deep work on your nervous system, because it's like all of your feelings come back online. It's like all of a sudden you're opening the channels to feel things that you've been avoiding. But once I faced the hard conversations, once I faced the hard things, once I moved through the ickiness of the things that I was avoiding, I just started to experience so much more peace, so much more ease, so much more expansion. And that is what I want to give to you. I want you to feel all of this and move through whatever you are going through with a sense of embodiment rather than just knowing things intellectually. Like, we are moving into an era, I believe, in our collective consciousness where it's not just about knowing the things, it's really about embodying them. And I have always said this to you on this podcast. I'm always someone that will go and walk the walk before I talk the talk. And yeah, that's why I really tuned out of the podcast last year, because I was so deep in my own journey and in my own study and building and just growing, that I wanted to be so deep in myself that I didn't have to give and share and show up on here. And behind the scenes, I was building all of this for you. So my life has changed through the 75 regulation journey that I've now created for you, but I first created for myself. It wasn't something that I was starting to basically create for other people. It was just this journey that I was on myself. And it has been mind-blowing how different I feel. I feel like I have so much more capacity. And that's the thing I really want to share with you. Capacity is such an interesting thing. And I really do believe that my life has transformed through my capacity. There are many things in my life that I feel like have not manifested or did not manifest in the timelines that I wanted to, because I was dysregulated, because I literally couldn't be the vessel to hold the things. I had the desires, I had the ability, I was doing the actions, but the reality of holding the things with the dysregulation that I was experiencing through the patterns that were showing up in my life was causing everything to crumble. This is why I couldn't even stick to 75 hard, which, if you don't know what that is, it's this challenge where you work out for a certain amount of times each day, you go and read 10 pages of a book, you eat clean. And I was unable to be disciplined because I was so dissociated and so dysregulated because I wasn't facing certain things in my life. Certain things had come up in my life over the last 2 years down rather than feeling them. And you really got to feel things to heal them. And how you feel them is through your body. It is not through your mind. You need to go through the body-based experience. Your body needs to finish the loop. It needs to have the cry. It needs to have the scream, the anger, the shake, the movement. It needs to feel alive to really let you feel alive. Think about when you have a feeling, you have an emotion, and then you stuff it down. What is that doing? It is basically killing the aliveness in your body. You came here as a human being to have an experience, to experience many different things. All of the emotions that you have are all experiences, and they are all examples of you being alive. So when you numb these emotions, you numb your aliveness. And that's when you end up feeling dissociated. That's when you end up feeling distant. That's when you end up feeling numb. And I don't want that for you. I want you to feel alive. I want you to feel the expansion that is possible for you. And that comes through nervous system regulation. It comes from allowing the body to do its thing. And it's not always pretty. I want to say that to you. It sometimes feels very primal. Somatic shaking for me feels like the most primal thing I have done in years. It is not pretty. It is not necessarily something that you put on your Instagram and be like, wow, look at my dance moves. No, it's raw, it's real, it's yelling, it's moving your face, it's sweating, it's raw, like getting into it. And I feel like over the last few years, so many people have tried to put on this performance and be so together and be so clean cut. And it's been clean girl and it's been so polished that we've lost that raw, real, kind of messy humanness that we all have inside of us. Like, I know that some people's houses look beautiful and pretty, and I'm all for an aesthetic. Like, this is the thing about me. I am such an aesthetic girl. I love an aesthetic. And I feel like I've been part of this. Like, I love things looking nice and clean and tidy. But that's not the reality of the human experience. It is not just polished. There is light, but there is also dark. There are all different shades. Like, you came here to have a rainbow of experiences. And I think when we try and make how we show up and how we interact with the world so clean, so cut, so together, so stoic, it ends up making us feel numb. It ends up making us feel dysregulated. It results in us just scrolling on the phone, just going through the motions, but not actually feeling the feelings. Wow. Oh, so many things to say. I feel like I'm going to have to do a whole bunch more topics on nervous system regulation and some specific things that you can do. But if you want to go on this journey of regulating your nervous system and you want to do the things that have helped me get to where I am now, which is this feeling of aliveness. I hope you have heard it on this podcast over the last few episodes. I would not be able to show up here every single day on the Mindspo podcast for 31 days if I had not been on a nervous system regulation journey. My word for 2026 is momentum. And I'm only able to have that momentum because I feel so alive, because I have regulated myself so much, because I have expanded so much, because I have worked on my body so much that I am now able to be in this level of fluidity. Last year and the year before, I wasn't fully there. There was something that numbed out in me. There was a spark that was lost, and I had to go deep in the depths to come out of it. And if you feel like your spark is lost as well, if you feel like you want to return to your radiance and you want to feel that radiance that I know is inside of you, this is how you're going to get there. It is through my 75-day regulation journey on the Mindspo app. And it is not a slog. It is not something that you're like, oh my God, it's going to take me 75 days to feel better. No, you're going to have this accountability, this system with you for 75 days so you can really make it part of your routine, of your ritual, so you can keep returning to it, keep expanding with it. And you're going to feel better. Like I said, within 7 days, within 14 days, things are going to start changing. Within 21 days, when you get to 21 days, my experience when I was doing my own version of this, when it was like kind of like the tester version before I even knew I was going to make it a program, when I was at 21 days, I was like, wow, I'm so happy I get to keep going. I don't have to start something new. It's like, no, this is part of who I am now. This is like what I do. This is how I return to myself every single day. And it's such a beautiful journey. I have all the details down below on how you can sign up. It is in the app now. This is what I was teasing last year that I was working on, and I can finally share it with you. I have a link down below on how you can get a yearly subscription for the Mindspo app at a discounted price. So if you go down to the link down below, there is a whole new onboarding that will take you into the journey, that will share with you more about this specific journey, and you can try it for free because I have a trial in there as well. So go and try it. You have nothing to lose. Come and see what I've been working on, and come and experience the shift and the transformation when you really commit to your own nervous system healing journey and your nervous system expanding journey. It is not just a journey of healing, but it is a journey of returning to your radiance, returning to that spark within, and feeling that expansion that is there for you, the capacity that is waiting for you when you commit to this journey. Like I said, all the links are down below. I'm so excited about what is to come in this journey, and I cannot wait to keep hearing from you how it is treating you and how you find your own 75 Regulate journey inside the Mindspo app. And as I always say when I end the Mindspo podcast, never forget that you create your own reality. So go out there and make some magic.